Wish I could sing like that. That musical introduction is our way of saying, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Sunday here at First Unitarian Society, where independent thinkers gather in a safe, nurturing environment to explore issues of social, spiritual, and ethical significance as we try to make a difference in this world. And speaking of things that are different in this world, I'm Steve Goldberg, a proud, intellectually gifted member of this congregation. And I'd like to extend an extra warm welcome to any guests, visitors, and newcomers. If this is your first time at First Unitarian Society, I think you'll find that it's a special place. And we invite you to join us for our fellowship hour right after the service. And speaking of following the service, this would be a great time to silence those pesky electronic devices that you just won't need for the next hour, because in the next hour, you're going to enjoy a service that will touch your heart, stir your spirit, and trigger one or two new thoughts. We're really glad you're here, and I'd like you to join in a moment of centering silence so that we can be fully present with each other this morning. Now it's time for our in-gathering hymn, 361.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. One more time. Enter, rejoice. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
You who are broken-hearted, who woke today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind, come in.
You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with every step, come in.
You who are fearful, who live with shadows hovering over your shoulders, come in. This place is sanctuary, and it is for you. You who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows, come in.
You who walk through the world with lightness and grace, who awoke this morning with strength and hope, you who have everything to give, come in.
This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters of life.
The place where you are called by the world's need. Here we offer in love.
Here we receive in gratitude. Here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose. Come in. I invite you to turn to the chalice lighting words in your order of service as Steve comes forward to light our chalice. We light this chalice for the broken-hearted, for the brave but wounded, for the fearful, for those filled with happiness, for those who move with grace, for those with strength and hope, knowing that all are welcome. Sanctuary. I invite you to turn to your neighbor for a friendly greeting. How exciting! Just at this moment. Hi, Harry. Yay, there's kids here.
No way, there's only 3 kids here? 4 kids.
I see 3 on the carpet. I see 4. Here comes some more. Yes, come on over. There's lots of carpet space. And you will definitely need to see the screen, so make sure you can see it from where you're sitting.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Good? Good. Okay, we're glad you're here. I'm going to share a story with you today about a friend of mine named Pinky. And you're going to get to see some pictures of Pinky up there. Take a look. So, my friend Pinky loves to be helpful. And one of the things that Pinky loves to do is cook. Pinky loves cooking. See Pinky up there? Helping out. Pinky also loves to help watering the garden. And Pinky even loves to help out with laundry. Sometimes Pinky gets a little silly doing laundry, huh? Pinky loves the adventure of construction projects. And Pinky loves the adventure of climbing trees. Pinky even loves the adventure of playing basketball. But sometimes Pinky doesn't like an adventure at all. Sometimes Pinky just wants to feel safe. So what Pinky does when Pinky wants to feel safe is build a fort. And then Pinky adds to the fort and makes it even bigger and better. And sometimes Pinky even builds a double-decker fort so that Pinky's friend Rabbit can come and feel safe too. I also have a friend named Karin, and Karin knows Pinky pretty well. So Karin's going to tell you a little more about Pinky.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Have you ever built a fort?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you use? Yeah. Pillows, chairs, blankets. More blankets, air mattresses, yeah. A couch, a whole couch, yeah. How about you? Pillows, yeah. Oh, pillows on the couch. Yeah, yeah. Cushions and beds. Oh, yeah, it is so fun to make forts. Do they make you feel safe and have fun inside the fort? Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to tell you about Pinky. Pinky is quite adventuresome and was so adventuresome that Pinky wanted to come this morning. And then Pinky got here and got a little scared and a little shy. So what do you think we did? We built a fort for Pinky, yes. And let's see if Pinky's ready to say hi. Oh, nope, not yet, not yet. How do you think we could make Pinky feel welcome? Yeah, let's just hear it. Say hi? Yeah. Should we say, and welcome? Oh, yeah, that might be nice. Should we try that together? Okay. On the count of 3, let's say, hi, Pinky, welcome. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Hi, Pinky, welcome. Oh my gosh, that helped a lot. It was so exciting that Pinky fell backwards into the fort. Yeah. Do you want to say anything else, Pinky? Interesting. Yeah. What else could we do to help Pinky feel welcome? How do you help your new friends feel? You say what? Oh, giving hugs is a really nice idea. What else? See if they want to play, yes. Do you want to be my friend? Of course. Nice. Did any of those help you feel safe, Pinky? Oh, one ear is listening closely. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of ways we can be friendly and welcoming, and I think it's really important to help people feel welcome especially when friends are new or they haven't been here in a place before. Oh yes, Pinky agrees. And you know what? What I know about Pinky is that Pinky likes high fives. So not so much hugs, but high fives. And Pinky has special feet. Do you see this? They are very smooth, shiny feet. And so if you want to come give Pinky a gentle high five, you can do that before you go to class, okay? Pinky's ready for you. Nice job, thank you. And while the kids are going to their class, I'm going to invite you all to turn to the next hymn, number 1051, I think, so we can sing together.
Child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We are sisters of mercy and brothers of love. Life and the builders of nations. We are seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace. Let's keep going to the end. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Thank you. Please be seated.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Listen carefully. Can you hear the song? The one sung for you when you were born? The song sung by the cosmos in motion, rejoicing at your life. You the result, you the outcome, you the celebration. Listen carefully. Can you hear it still? A song of possibility, a reminder that we still have time to be who and what we need to be. Listen carefully. The vast expanse echoes a recognition that it's not always easy. Possibilities can be hard to pursue. Roads not taken, wrong turns, destinations that disappoint. Through this, the song persists. The universe sings no less because time and space wear us thin. The music calls us to recognize our limitations, to recognize that the song is best sung with others. Here in community, bringing alive that most primordial and original impulse, the desire to sing to the universe who we are, to celebrate and share our lives with others.
Let's
This past week, I spent 3 days with other Unitarian Universalist ministers from this region. We were engaged in an intensive workshop called Writing as a Spiritual Practice. There were about 40 or so of us there, exploring our own original calls to the ministry and what might be calling us now. As you might imagine, this was challenging for me on at least a couple of levels. First of all, the topic of the work in which we were engaged is emotionally charged for me. You see, the story of my call feels complicated and also a little tender. My call has been lifelong, starting at age 3, and I'm much older than that, and relatively recent. My call has been both so obvious, like hitting me over the head, and yet so subtle. My call has been both mundane, day-to-day life and sublime moments. My call includes my gay uncle and my mother, who went into the ministry when I was a teenager. My call includes 20 years of volunteer engagement and spiritual growth at my home congregation of James Reeb Unitarian Universalist congregation on the east side of Madison. My call includes feeling like a minister in librarian's clothing. From the week's emotionally dense introspection into my call and the aha moments during the workshops, I was exhausted. Now, the second reason this intensive workshop was challenging for me was because it was the first time I had been to such a gathering. There were a lot of new faces and names and places and all that I needed to remember. Plus, I found I was comparing myself to others, which is usually something I try to avoid. I would introduce myself saying, "Hi, my name is Karin, like car in the garage." I started my first year of a 2-year internship at First Unitarian Society of Madison, about 6 weeks ago now. In contrast, some of my colleagues revealed that they had been in their ministries for years, sometimes even decades. Definitely, I was the new kid on the block, feeling a little uncertain, overwhelmed with information, shy about reaching out, and unsure of how much of myself to share. Like Pinky the elephant, sometimes I just wanted to go back to my fort and feel safe. Naps back in my room were a great relief. Now, not surprisingly, we ministers started our time together by creating a covenant. Our shared Unitarian Universalist faith does not ask us to recite a creed, expressing what we should all believe. Nope. We are a people of covenants, sacred promises about how we are going to treat each other, how we are going to be in relationship. This experience of creating and agreeing to a covenant with fellow ministers reminded me of a time this past summer when I was co-creating a covenant with fellow chaplains. So you see, as a requirement of my work towards earning my Master's of Divinity degree through the Meadville Lombard Theological School, which is based in Chicago and is one of the Unitarian Universalist seminaries in this country, this summer I engaged in something called clinical pastoral education. In that work, I served as a full-time chaplain at a local Madison hospital. Along with me were 4 other full-time chaplains, and together we formed a learning community. We were committed to exploring ourselves and our ministries. Obviously, this is no small task, and we would be digging into it for 3 months. So, one of the first things we did together, as a group of chaplains, was to draft a covenant for our shared reflection time. During this process, as we brainstormed and wordsmithed, the suggestion was offered that this group be a safe space. Immediately, my hackles raised. I could not fathom how I could honestly covenant with people I did not know to create something that sometimes seems nearly impossible in most human relationships. A covenant is a sacred promise, I reasoned. I would be lying if I promised safe space to strangers. Now, if you were here last week, that might sound harsh. After all, this month's theme of sanctuary was introduced last week with beautiful references to radical hospitality, an expansive sense of welcome, sacred music, and the intentions of love that help to create a beloved community. And while all of those aspirations are inspiring, exploring why my hackles raise at the mention of safe space seemed like a worthwhile endeavor. Well, it turns out that professionals have written about safe space and brave space. The insights of two student affairs educators at New York University are included in a 2013 book entitled Reflections from Social Justice Educators. The chapter written by Brian Arrow and Kristen Clemens is called From Safe Spaces to Brave Spaces, a new way to frame dialogue around diversity and social justice. In the chapter, they explain how their experience with creating ground rules with students has led them to implement better practices for establishing guidelines for sensitive conversations. Now, the entire chapter is fascinating to me, but there are 3 points that I want to highlight from their work for you. The first is that people get safety mixed up with comfort. In the beginning, these two facilitators would declare the time together as safe space in an effort to create learning environments that allowed people to dialogue with respect, honesty, and sensitivity about controversial topics. However, when the conversation moved from polite to provocative, Arrow and Clemens noticed that participants invoked in protest the common ground rules associated with the idea of safe space. When we queried students about their rationales, their responses shared a common theme: a conflation of safety with comfort. So I'll repeat that. A conflation of safety with comfort. When we call a place a safe space, we imply that folks will always be comfortable in that setting. The second point is that our identities and social locations impact what we perceive to be safe. The authors write, authentic learning about social justice often requires the very qualities of risk, difficulty, and controversy that are defined as incompatible with safety. These kinds of challenges are particularly unavoidable in participant groups composed of target and agent group members. In such settings, target and agent group members take risks by participating fully and truthfully, though these risks differ substantially by group membership and which identities hold the most salience for a given participant at a given time. So here the authors are acknowledging that various identities and social locations impact our experiences in a particular setting. For example, as a white person living on the occupied land of the Ho-Chunk people, I often find myself not having to cross cultural bridges or see a situation from a non-dominant perspective. My socialization as a white person puts me in a position of power that rarely expects me to modify my behavior or give up my privilege. In contrast, as a female-bodied person, I know clearly the places where I have had to grow eyes in the back of my head in order to keep my physical and emotional self as safe as possible, be it walking down a dimly lit alley or sitting in a meeting room filled with male-bodied persons. With my third identity as a person in a same-sex marriage, I am cognizant of the legal benefits of the institution of marriage, while at the same time being hesitant to show too much physical affection to my wife in public, particularly in new settings. I have many other identities and social locations, and they intersect, overlap, and impact the way I perceive safety and danger. Obviously, all of our identities and social locations matter when it comes to how we move through the world and what constitutes safe space for us. The third point from the chapter is that there is a more appropriate phrase to use when we want to create a covenant as a community engaged in the hard yet liberating work of exploring power, privilege, and oppression. The authors explain their preferred phrase of brave space as follows. Our approach to initiating social justice dialogues should not be to convince participants that we can remove risk from the equation, for this is simply impossible. Rather, we propose revising our language, shifting away from the concept of safety and emphasizing the importance of bravery instead. This helps students better understand and rise to the challenges of genuine dialogue. Invoking an image of brave space helps us all rise to the challenge that we face as we engage in dialogue that makes a difference. As it turns out, I sometimes create a little infographic cards for myself if I want to remember something important. And I have one here where the border around the edge says risk-taking as a spiritual practice. And it frames on the inside the big word, courage. For me, this is a reminder that I need to lean into my discomfort and mistakes in my ongoing effort to answer my call. Speaking of calls, I so appreciate the image that Swiss-American psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross painted. Part of the quote is on the front of your order of service, and the entire quote is as follows. How do the geese know when to fly to the sun? Who tells them the seasons? How do we humans know when it is time to move on? As with migrant birds, so surely with us, there is a voice within, if only we would listen to it, that tells us so certainly when to go forth into the unknown. As Unitarian Universalists, we have covenanted to affirm and promote 7 principles, one of which is justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Certainly, dialoguing about diversity and social justice is one small piece of creating more justice, equity, and compassion in this world, and we need covenants that help us do that. If we can make brave space as a community here, where else can we take that and share that? Part of any movement we make will require us to listen. Listen to the voice within. Listen to the breath of our ancestors. Listen to the morning stars that rise and sing to the universe, who we are. Listen to each other. Listen to those who have not yet had a chance to speak. Listen. Are you ready to go into the unknown? To co-create brave space together? I close by inviting you to listen to this poem entitled Invitation to Brave Space. It was written by Mickey Scott Bay Jones. Together we will create brave space because there is no such thing as safe place. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars, and we all have caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. This space will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. May it be so. Each week we have the opportunity to tap into the bravery of feeling abundance, of sharing generously. This morning we are sharing half of our morning's offering with the Illuminazi Project. There's information in your order of service, and you will want to know that through workshops fostering conversation and community, participants create beautiful illuminated paper lamps that embody intention and meaning. We'll now take the offering.
Our worship services are truly a shared ministry in this congregation, and so we take time to offer our appreciation for the many gifts that have ministered to us all this morning. Helping us with the sound is Mike Leenow. Judy Troya is our lay minister this morning. March Schweitzer was our greeter. And assisting with coffee is Bis Nitschke and Jeannie Hills. And Karen Rose Gredler is our welcome and info table person. As we move also into the afternoon, I want to remind you that today is our fall parish meeting. About 12:30 we will gather here. The main order of business this afternoon will be a conversation of the community exploring an open question around our theme this month, sanctuary, and what it might mean for the future in terms of how we are within these walls and beyond. This will not be the only opportunity for us to explore open questions. The interim time is filled with conversations that invite us into brave space, that ask us to be able to sit with each other around dynamic tensions rather than rushing to try to find easy and often unhelpful answers to complicated questions. This is one of the first conversations, however, that is open to anyone. Many of our conversations will invite various groups within the congregation to give voice to their hopes and dreams. I hope you will join us today and be a part of today's conversation around sanctuary, and look for other opportunities in the coming months for you to share, as well as listen carefully to each other. We also, every week, take some time to explore together the cares of the congregation, remembering that each of us carries with us joys and sorrows that are written in our minds, in our hearts, carried in our bodies. And so in this place where we love and are loved, where we give and receive and return, it is important for us to come together and share strength and common purpose, turning our minds and hearts towards one another to seek and give concern, love, support. I think it is essential that we do that work in a spirit of openness and intention. So I invite you this morning to understand that by your feet being on the ground, you are deeply connected to the earth itself. And your awareness that you are surrounded with your fellow human beings here this morning and beyond, for a moment, may you call to mind the truth of that powerful connection. And in the air around you are hints of something larger, something that transcends our individuality and connects us deeply to one another. From all of those places of deep connection, to the earth, to each other, to something larger and transcending. For a moment, I invite you to call to mind your own life this last week and the lives of people that you know well. For a moment, think about the joys in your own life and hold in your thoughts the joys and celebrations of those that you love. Hold them as a sort of meditation or prayer or deep thought. Imagine some way that you might respond in love. And take a deep breath in, breathing in peace, and release that breath, filling this space with the spirit of love. Also this week, many of us, most of us, may have had moments of challenge or sadness or loss. or those that we love may have gone through a difficult time. May you hold your own truth in your thoughts about those that you care for a moment, holding also the things that are difficult, holding it in a way that is its own meditation or prayer or deep thought, and again thinking of some way in love that you might respond. And with a deep breath in, we breathe in peace and strength, and we breathe out love. May we hold all of the joys and sorrows, those that we are ready to share and those that are yet too tender to speak out loud, remembering always that we are part of a web of life that makes us all connected as human beings, and beyond that to the universe itself. May times like this help us be grateful for the miracle of life that we share and the hope that gives us the power and strength to care, to remember, and to love. That practice is essential to this community, and it blesses us all. Amen, and blessed be. I invite us to rise in all the ways that we do and join our voices together in hymn number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. One more time. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, and loving enough to forgive ourselves and each other. May we, as a people of faith, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. We extinguish our chalice, but not this bravery, not this courage, not this warmth of community, and not this fire of commitment. Those remain in our hearts until we meet again. I invite you to get settled in your seat to enjoy another gift of music.